Well, as you've been seeing, there's been widespread condemnation of yesterday's killing of civilians along the Palestinian-Israeli border. 60 people, 60 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces during that protest along the Gaza border. The protest for the return of occupied Palestinian land, which takes place on the 15th of May annually, was given impetus by the controversial opening of the US Embassy in Jerusalem. Now, to talk to us a little bit more about these recent developments, which include South Africa's withdrawal of its ambassador to Israel, is Dudu Masango-Mahlangu, who's the coordinator of the South African Council of Churches Ecumenical Accompanier program, Israel-Palestine. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, so these shocking circumstances in which we bring you into the studio, we hear at least 60 people have died, including a 10-month-old baby, have died as a result of this shooting yesterday. Your immediate reaction to what's happened?
You know, when you speak of this, to me, it's not only about numbers. I've been to Palestine since 2006 as an accompanier. So since 2006 up to today, I visit Palestine every 3 months, and I stay there for over 3 months. So to me, it's more close to my heart, because the people that, some of them, the names, when I see the names, it's people I know, it's families that I've met, it's people that I've spoken to. So it's not only about numbers. Yesterday, one of them, the doctor, was busy with patients on the other side, not knowing that Ishmael is the brother to the doctor, was already lying on a dead bed there. And somebody called me, Nora Karmi, and they called me to tell me that Ishmael is no more. And Ishmael is one of the activists that I work closely with. I couldn't take it. And especially when it comes to numbers, and you hear people are naming the numbers as if it's not humans that we're talking about. And coming from a Christian perspective, and coming from a person who is a Christian, we are taught to love everyone. Worse is that it says, look at your enemy as your brother, so that you teach them to love, so that there is peace and justice for all amongst everyone living there. So what is happening there is really traumatic for one, especially when you know the people around there. I couldn't sleep last night. I was on the phone around the clock, up to right throughout the clock. People were calling in, trying to find out, because we also send people there as volunteers.
So tell us a little bit more about life for the ordinary Palestinians, because normally we just report the conflict and we just report casualties and the fights between them and the authorities. Everyday life for Palestinians, what is it like?
The most amazing thing that I first felt when I went there the first time, because when we left from here, we were all over with the news that there are terrorists and there are fights and war. So when you walk there, you're worried in terms of what is going to happen to you. And the most amazing thing that I found immediately when I landed, when I was placed in Jerusalem, it was people full of smiles, and all around where you're walking, they say, welcome, welcome, full of smiles. They are full of life. And I started wondering, what is happening? Because I was expecting that I would be guarded, police will be guarding us, taking us through. It was nothing like that. The people that we were there for were making sure that we were safe as people coming from outside. They will show you around. There are marriages taking place within all of this that we are hearing about, and you'll be invited to those weddings. And it will be fun. They have they are fun-loving people and very warm-hearted.
All right, so we're running out of time, so I do want to deal with some of these issues. You wrote an article in December saying that the downgrade of the SA embassy in Israel was a step in the right direction. The EFF is saying we should close the embassy here in Pretoria. Do you think we should break diplomatic relations with Israel completely?
Coming from South Africa and coming from South African apartheid system, when you look at what is happening, a lot has been done, a lot has been said, rather, to try to bring the two together, and it has not worked. And looking back at what has happened in our country, for the apartheid regime to understand what they were doing was wrong, they had to be sanctioned. So yes, I agree. Total sanctions between South Africa and Israel, I think, will be the way out. And if it's not started by South Africans or by South African government, the other countries are going to take long to do it. They will do it if we are the first ones to do it, because we understand what it means to do that, and we understand where we come from, what it did for us. Where we are today, it was because of the sanctions. Hence, the world started to listen. So if we do that, Israel will start to listen.
So there are two sides to every story. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the military was acting in self-defense against Gaza's Islamist rulers, Hamas, who seek to destroy Israel. Israel's military only fired at targets of terrorist activity.
I disagree with that totally. The pictures that have been sent to me, and these are people that I trust very much that send these pictures, people going towards the border have nothing in their hands but only their Palestinian flags, and many of them were showing the peace sign. So how do you kill with a sniper on people who have nothing in their hands? Even if they had stones, yes, some of them, they do come to that point of throwing stones, but a stone to a live ammunition, that's two different. You can't match the two. It's something that you just cannot match.
You know, it's just one of these difficult ones. The Jewish Board of Deputies, one of the members there was speaking in the media yesterday and said that, South Africa withdrawing the ambassador is double standards because there are killings happening in Syria and other countries. Why single out Israel in amongst all of these other countries in trouble?
I will respond coming from a point of a Christian view, because as South African Council of Churches, we are responding to what is happening in Palestine because we got a call from the Palestinian Christians on the ground crying that what is happening to them, they are now pushed into a dark corner. And as as South African Christians, being the prophetic voice for them, what are we saying? Hence, we are responding to what is happening in Palestine. Not that we are not aware of happening in Syria or Iran. We are aware of that, and we understand that those two are humans that need to be spoken for. But this one has been voiceless for 70 years. They've been crying. They've been trying all means to get through to sit down with Israel, but it has not happened. But basically, we are responding to a call that we have been asked to respond to.
All right. So you're a Christian first and foremost. These holy lands are important to your religion. Important to Muslims, important to Jewish people. What do we do with this capital, Jerusalem?
Jerusalem is for all. That's what we believe.
Right.
It shouldn't be divided or taken away to a certain religious group. It's unfair if we give it to the Jewish group only, or Jewish religion. What about the Muslims? What about the Christians? What about the churches that are there? What about the mosques that are there? What about the beliefs that we have as Christians, that we need to go there? Jesus Christ was born there and Jesus Christ died there. We have this attachment. So if they exclude us, where should we go? We're saying open Jerusalem for all, not for a certain religious group.
What do you say to Israelis who say, listen, if you were Israeli and you're under fire every single day and your life is threatened every day, you would understand the measures that we have to take to defend ourselves?
Peter, if you look at what is happening now, honestly, who is under fire? Do Palestinians have any arms with them? We're listening to the news, we see what is happening. The only people who have guns, who have sniper shots, are Israeli soldiers. The Palestinians that we are looking at, they are going forward with stones. Yes, it's a stone. We can see it as a violent thing, but it's a stone compared to a sniper shot. Who is under violence? We're looking at Palestinians who have to go through barbed wires. We're looking at Palestinians who have to go through checkpoints to be checked for a finger, which when it doesn't read your fingerprint, then you have to be turned back. And these are people who are breadwinners at their homes, who is under fire. Let us be honest with ourselves and look at the truth in terms of the eye of the oppressed, not the eye of the oppressor.
You know, a lot of comparisons has been made to apartheid South Africa and what's happening in Palestine with Israel. Are there comparisons that you've been able to see yourself as someone who understands the history of this country as well?
There are similarities, but I will say what I've seen in Palestine, and compared to the, yes, I'm young enough not to have gone through exactly what apartheid was, but listening to the history from my father and my uncle, what is happening in Palestine is far worse than what used to happen back here at home. And the way they have created it in a sense that someone who has never lived such a life would not easily see it, that there is some racism going on or apartheid system going on. But for a South African, you smell it. You can sense that there is something going wrong. And when then you find out, you can tell. And then I find it very difficult that there are South Africans who go there and who come back to say, us who say Israel is an apartheid system or is practicing an apartheid system, we are saying something bad towards South Africans. I don't understand where they come from. Which South Africa have they been to? Or which South Africa have they stayed in?
Dudu, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for coming through and sharing your insights with us. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. And I hope we will do right by the Palestinians.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was Dudu Masango-Mahlangu, coordinator of the South African Council of Churches Ecumenical Accompanier program, Israel-Palestine. Moving on.